History is often shaped not just by empires and ideologies, but by individuals. One moment, one choice, one person. Sometimes the fate of millions hinge on a single action, a trigger pulled, a path taken, or a word spoken. On the morning of June 28, 1914, such a major moment occurred in the streets of Sarajevo. A teenager, sickly and pale, raised a pistol and fired 2 shots. Those bullets would not just kill a royal couple, they would send the world hurtling into one of the deadliest conflicts in human history, World War I. But who was this young man, and why did he do it? And did he really start a world war? Welcome to the Secrets of the Past. Today we journey into the life, motives and legacy of Gavrilo Princip, the man who pulled the trigger and shook the world. To truly understand what happened in Sarajevo, we must first look at the world in the early 20th century. Europe in 1914 was a continent brimming with contradictions. It was an age of great empires and great unrest. Monarchs ruled millions, but nationalism was on the rise. Industrial progress soared, but so did poverty. Peace prevailed, yet the drums of war echoed louder with each passing year. 4 major empires dominated Central and Eastern Europe: the Austro-Hungarian, the Russian, the German, and the Ottoman. Each was a patchwork of ethnicities, languages, and cultures. Beneath the surface of these imperial powers lay a growing resentment, people yearning for independence, autonomy, and identity. The Balkans, a region often referred to as the powder keg of Europe, was especially volatile. Serbia had recently emerged as a proud independent kingdom, and many Serbs dreamed of uniting all South Slavs, Serbs, Croats, Bosnians, into one great Slavic nation. But there was one problem. Austria-Hungary stood in the way. In 1908, Austria-Hungary annexed Bosnia and Herzegovina, a territory with a large Slavic population. This infuriated the Kingdom of Serbia and many Bosnians who viewed the annexation as imperial overreach. Secret societies and nationalist groups formed across the region, planning and dreaming of revolution. And in the heart of this storm was a young boy named Gavrilo Princip. Gavrilo Princip was born on July 25, 1894 in the remote villages of Obliaj in western Bosnia, then part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. He came from a humble background. His father was a postman, deeply religious and poor. Life in the village was hard, harsh winters, scarce food, and little opportunity. Gavrilo was one of 9 children, but only 3 survived infancy. From a young age, he was quiet, serious, and deeply introspective. Teachers noticed his intelligence and discipline. He would often sit alone reading books and dreaming of something greater. Like many Serbs in Bosnia, Gavrilo was raised in a culture that glorified resistance. Epic tales of past rebellions, of heroes who fought foreign rulers, filled his childhood. These stories planted a seed. He did not see himself as a subject of the Habsburg monarchy, but as a Serb destined to fight for his people's freedom. As a teenager, Gavrilo left Bosnia and went to Belgrade, the capital of Serbia. It was there, among exiled revolutionaries and fiery nationalists, that he found his true calling. Belgrade in the early 1910s was a city buzzing with revolutionary fervor. The air was thick with politics and poetry, with anger and ambition. Gavrilo enrolled in school but spent more time with underground circles, young men who spoke of war, liberation, and martyrdom. In this environment, Gavrilo was introduced to the radical nationalist organization known as the Black Hand. Founded in 1911 by members of the Serbian military, the Black Hand was a secret society with one mission: to create a unified South Slav state, even if it meant using terrorism. They trained young Serbs in the art of assassination, sabotage, and propaganda. Gavrilo was small, frail, and suffered from tuberculosis. But his spirit was unbreakable. He was soon recruited for what would become one of the most infamous missions in modern history. The Austro-Hungarian Empire was a patchwork of cultures, and holding it together was becoming increasingly difficult. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the throne, had ideas to reform the empire. He envisioned a triple monarchy that would include Slavic peoples, granting them more autonomy. Ironically, he may have been the one leader capable of preventing a war between Austria and Serbia, but to many Slavic nationalists, including Gavrilo Princip, he was not seen as a reformer. He was the face of imperial rule, a symbol of foreign domination. When the Black Hand learned that the Archduke would be visiting Sarajevo on June 28, 1914, they saw it as an opportunity too perfect to miss. June 28 was Vidovdan, a Serbian national holiday commemorating the Battle of Kosovo in 1389, a date deeply symbolic in Serbian history. Gavrilo Princip and 5 other young men were given pistols and cyanide capsules. The mission was clear: assassinate the Archduke. On the morning of June 28, 1914, Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie arrived in Sarajevo. The city was heavily decorated, crowds cheered, flags waved, but danger lurked among the onlookers. The first attacker threw a grenade, but it bounced off the Archduke's car and exploded beneath the vehicle behind, injuring members of the convoy and several civilians. In the confusion, the conspirators scattered. The Archduke decided to continue his visit. After a brief stop, he insisted on visiting the wounded in the hospital. But fate had a cruel twist. Due to a miscommunication, the driver took a wrong turn and began backing the car slowly onto a side street, right in front of the cafe where Gavrilo Princip was standing. It was a chance encounter. Princip, stunned by the moment, stepped forward, pulled his pistol and fired 2 shots. One bullet struck Sophie in the abdomen. The other hit Franz Ferdinand in the neck. They both died minutes later. Gavrilo Princip was immediately captured and beaten by the crowd. He tried to swallow his cyanide pill, but it failed to kill him. Under Austro-Hungarian law, he was too young to be executed. At just 19, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. He was sent to Dzerzhinstadt, a fortress in what is now the Czech Republic. There, sick with tuberculosis and riddled with guilt or pride, depending on the day, he withered away. He died in 1918, just before the war ended. But the world outside was no longer the same. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia for the attack. Despite Serbia accepting most demands of an ultimatum, war was declared. Russia mobilized in defense of Serbia. Germany declared war on Russia. France was drawn in. Germany invaded Belgium. Britain declared war on Germany. The machine of alliances, long in place, now roared to life. Within weeks, World War I had begun. It's easy to say that Gavrilo Princip started the First World War, but the truth is more complex. Europe had been on the brink of war for years. A tangled web of alliances, colonial rivalries, economic tensions, and an arms race had set the stage. Many historians believe that war was inevitable. The assassination in Sarajevo was simply the spark. Still, those 2 shots gave the world its excuse. Over 20 million people would die. Empires, the Austro-Hungarian, Russian, Ottoman, and German, would fall. A new world would rise, shaped by revolutions, fascism, and another, even deadlier global war. Gavrilo Princip had no idea what he had unleashed. To some, Princip remains a hero, a freedom fighter who dared to resist imperialism. In parts of Serbia and former Yugoslavia, his name is spoken with reverence. Statues honor him. His image has graced postage stamps. Schools bear his name. To others, he is a murderer, a fanatic who caused unimaginable suffering. In Austria and parts of Europe, he is remembered as the man who shattered the peace. But history rarely offers simple answers. Gavrilo Princip was not a monster, nor was he a messiah. He was a poor boy shaped by disease, anger, and dreams of justice. A teenager who believed in something and acted. Whether his belief was righteous or reckless is still debated to this day. The prison cell where Princip died still stands, cold, empty, haunted. A place where a boy watched the world burn because of what he had done. And what of Franz Ferdinand? Ironically, he may have been the key to preventing the war. His death meant to spark liberation, instead sparkled destruction. The war that followed reshaped borders, shattered lives, and gave birth to a century defined by violence. World War I led to World War II, and World War II led to Cold War, and through it all the shadows of Sarajevo lingered. One man, two bullets, a century changed forever. This is the power of history, not in empires alone, but in individuals, in their choices, in their moments. Thank you for watching Secrets of the Past. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe for more forgotten tales, untold legends, and the peoples who changed the world, sometimes without even realizing.